Please go wild for Glenn. Whoa!
Hello! Wonderful to see you. I'm Glenn. I'm Canadian. I know what you're thinking. You're like, well, what the fuck are you doing here, Glenn? Why don't you go back and live in a good country? Stay here in this disease-riddled shithole. Actually, that's what I'm thinking, too. We're all thinking it. I'll tell you why Clapham, if you've asked. It was love. That is the most depressing London answer I have ever heard to that. I told you I was in love, and you stared. You stared like fucking Londoners. You're just in love. Well, there's no money in that. Love, ladies and gentlemen. I know, I can see it. You're like, well, who is she, Glenn? Describe her in great detail so we may know. Well, I will. She's wonderful. She's an airline stewardess that grew up on a farm in Essex. Yeah, I know. Sexually, that's a lot of bases covered. Just think about it, man. She's traveled the world, learning things, picking things up, adjusting her technique. She is like a jet-set Kama Sutra. But she also has that farming background. Where you know that at any moment, if none of that fancy shit's working, she's also strong enough to hold you down by the neck and jerk you off into a bucket. I'm telling you, London, you have not lived till you heard your own hot squirt hit tin. I love it when a crowd gets a joke and an idea at the same time. See all the dudes in here adjusting their birthday wish list as we speak. What would you like for your special day, honey? I need a bucket. I need a bucket and the milkmaid's outfit. And I don't care what you wear. Thank you. Finally out of the fucking house. Have a crowd to play to. Not a goddamn toddler. Unappreciative little shit. I'm fucking spinning gold for the little prick. He's got nothing in return. Yesterday, he walked past me with his Toy Story toys in his arms. I see it, I read it, I said, hey, be careful. Last time I had a Woody and a Buzz, your mom got pregnant. And he gives me nothing. I fucking wrote a joke specifically for the occasion. Nothing. I like you guys. You laugh even when you don't think it's funny. That's important. That's important in life, man, especially post-pandemic. You learn how to fake a fucking laugh. That's right. We weren't doing that. In the 90s, that's all we did. Couldn't hear a goddamn thing. The music was too loud. Anybody's yakking away at you in a club, you just, Saved it all. Nobody got offended because you couldn't hear anything. It was just, Now, people, you fucking say one bad thing and they're like, okay, here's a list of why I didn't like that. Went to the grocery store the other day. Trying to lighten the mood, as you do. I was sent with a very odd combination to buy, so I gotta break the ice a little bit. Sent to buy tampons and fish fingers. So I put down my purchases. Lady's ringing it in. I look at her, I go, hope she doesn't screw it up this time. Nothing, she just... Get that from the automated teller. Need you. I'm up here talking about my relationship. I hope you don't think I'm bragging about it in any way. I'm not. We got problems. Just like any union does. We've got things we got to work through. With us, it's an age difference. She's 31, I'm 45, and I'm not proud of that, but I'm proud of that. I'll stop telling people and I stop getting high fives afterwards. That's how male pride works, if you're wondering. You stop slapping, we stop yakking. But yeah, every once in a while, though, it's just, the problem is, sometimes I mention things and people from the 80s in my funny jokes. And she has no clue what I'm talking about. The other day I had to stop and backtrack a conversation so that I could explain who Axel Rose was. Don't look at her like that. She's not dumb, she's young. The only reason we know who that person is because we're old. And she can take tutelage, I can teach her things. She's good for learning. I explained to her, I said, look, Axel Rose was in a band called Guns N' Roses. They made an album called Appetite for Destruction. It was one of the finest rock and roll albums ever made. Every song was perfect, every note was a classic. And then he died. That's right, I killed Axel Rose very early in his life. In my world, he didn't have a chance to be a real idiot. He didn't never show up to concerts. He didn't make any of those shitty albums. No, he just died once I had no more use for him, and that is what I'm trying to impart to you, fine people, is that if you fuck somebody young enough, you can curate the 70s, 80s, and some of the 90s. We were watching the movie Jaws the other day. I was like, well, enjoy it, because they only made the one. I'm a munificent king of a time frame. Kill you. You will be dead. Meatloaf died very young. Right after Bat Out of Hell. Food poisoning. You know what he ate? Bad meatloaf. Yeah. You can imagine how surprised she was a little while ago when Prince died again. She was like, Glenn, I thought you told me that he crashed his purple helicopter into David Bowie the day after Labyrinth wrapped. That's what I thought happened. You'll die, and it's not always talent-based. Sometimes you have much more to give. Arguably, the best work is still to come, but you've done something personally to offend me, so you're dead. You know who died very young in the 80s? Eddie Murphy. Fuck him, he was a homophobe, and I got no time for that sort of behavior. I don't give a shit if he did apologize right after. No, he died right after Delirious, and you know what he died of? AIDS, ladies and gentlemen. Homophobic Eddie Murphy, the only man who ever deserved his AIDS, and I know all the millennials are sitting in here now going, Glenn, what are you talking about? AIDS doesn't kill you. It did in the fucking 80s. Real AIDS, that's what he had. None of that shit you millennials have now. You can't even have real AIDS. You don't have AIDS. We had AIDS. Shit you have now is like diabetes. You just take a bunch of pills, you're fine. Can't even kill a coked up Charlie Sheen. Anyway, folks, you've been absolutely wonderful. Enjoy the rest of your night. Support live comedy or whatever we're doing here. I don't know.
Give it up for Glenn Wool!
Glenn Wool, everybody!